If the guns were a little bit slower, but the ammo's still there, it was like, okay, sweet. That ammo dropping off, it was like, here we are then.
Welcome to GOA State of the Second podcast. My name is John, and today I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend, the purveyor of the yeet cannon, Dave from High Point. Dave, how are you, brother?
Oh, man. Wow. What kind of intro was that? I'm good, man. I'm good. Wow.
Well, I gotta introduce you somehow. You are this like legend. There's in some circles in the industry, they call you Handsome Dave.
Yeah, okay, that's true.
So,
God, I know he know that. Never mind.
Yeah. So, I have to introduce you in some way. The purveyor, the legend of the yeet. So, go ahead and introduce yourself to the folks, real quick.
Yeah, like you said, Dave with High Point. That's most common circles. I've been working with High Point for like 15 years now. Dealing with guys like this, writers and media people, and and oftentimes you can find me dealing with you, the end user customer, whether it's on social media or if you can call us in. You might get me on the phone, maybe.
Oh, that's get you on the phone. Wow.
I try to stay away from the phone as much as possible.
I can see why. So we're going to go into our rapid fire segment. That is where I ask you 5 questions quickly, or you can answer them as quickly or shortly as you want, or as long as you want. This segment is brought to you by Blackout Coffee. Go check out Blackout Coffee's No Compromise blend. That is our blend for GOA, made by Blackout Coffee. Get your caffeine addiction while spreading gun freedom with Blackout Coffee. So, Dave, I'm going to ask you 5 questions. We're going to start off. What was your last impulse buy?
It was a knife when I was at Ohio Range Day. What was that, like back in September? Brothers and Blades or something like that. I don't know, man. I have a problem with knives like I do guns. I just see like a cool knife. I'm like, ooh, what's that? And they're like, oh yeah, these are all handmade, individualized. They're not production runs. I'm like, I like that. Oh, you have the little ring to put my finger so I can fidget spin, twirl it. I'm like, oh, okay. And it's smaller than my other knives, so it's like go good on my battle belt rig. I'm like, for more LARPing. I'm like, okay, how much is it? Oh, it's only $200 for the show. Okay. But it's actually pretty cool. It's a cool little knife.
Been there, done that. We all know how that goes. The next question I'm going to ask you is, since you are in Dayton, Ohio, or in that area, are aliens real? Because we all know they're at Right Pat. Are aliens real?
Okay. Are they real? Yes, they're absolutely real. Are they Right Pat? No. Dude, come on.
They're at Right Pat.
No. Even back in the day, like when I started getting that thought of like, are aliens real? It's like Roswell, New Mexico. Did that happen? Yes. Area 51. Obviously, we all know that's real. It's just stored there. Yes. Did they really bring the Right Pat? Man, if they did, sure, for a very short time before it went back out west. There ain't nothing at Right Pat right now other than logistics and satellite.
All right. Listen, if you've ever lived in the Dayton area, you know that is the legend that all the aliens are Right Pat.
I've been over that base enough. There ain't no aliens there.
So the next question I got for you: what is your go-to home defense gun, and why is it a High Point carbine?
You'd think because I have such like easy access to them, it would be my go-to gun. But right now, the actual bedside gun is my Space Cowboy lever action setup.
Ooh.
Well, part of that's because my safe is absolutely full. I just can't fit any more things in there. So I've got like one hang up above my monitors here on my bookshelf, and I've got the lever action is stowed away in the bedroom, and there's usually something else around elsewhere, but I'm just out of room. But the lever gun though, I don't know. It's because it's cool, because it's fun. Got a light on it. I got a good laser setup on it. If I feel like throwing my nods on being, Bravo 6 going dark, I can still run the lever action with that, with the can on it, because it's just cool,
No, that is really cool. I don't know what's scarier, you with a lever gun, or somebody breaking your house with you in your underwear and nods on with a lever gun.
I mean, why not, man?
Why not?
The lever gun's a shit, man. I ran that thing in what was it? Midnight Brutality last spring. I ran an entire match with a lever gun, 115 people. I timed out on 5 out of 8 stages with a lever gun because I've got to, single load rounds in, where other guys just hitting a button, insert a mag, hit a button. But I still beat like 5 guys overall.
Look at you
with a lever gun. So it's like lever guns rock, man. I mean, have some fun with them.
Yeah, why not? I can't wait. Mine's supposed to be. I got the GOA Henry. Mine's supposed to be hopefully coming in soon. So
nice.
Question number 4: if you could make one firearms movie more realistic, which one would it be?
More realistic?
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude! I'm like looking at a whole wall of movies and thinking, I don't know, because I mean, you get things like Predator. Predator's an absolute favorite movie, and Predator is the quintessential 80s. We're hip firing everything, but you still watch a movie today, it doesn't matter. It still looks good. So like, I wouldn't touch that, you know. And then maybe go with like Die Hard, but same thing. Die Hard is done well enough. It's like, I wouldn't touch that. Then you go to like Heat. It's pretty much done perfectly, so there's no point in touching that. The Wick movies, they're all done really well, except the occasional guy who is teacupping some shit. But that's forgivable enough. I mean, man, you kind of stumped me on that.
Well, the one we've got, so I've asked this question 3 times. The one that we keep getting most consistently is Rambo First Blood.
I mean, it's been a while since I've watched it. I love that movie too, but like his stuff with the 60, it's not so over the top. You know, I mean, you're not going to shoulder a 60 anyways at that point, you know, with controlling the belt. But then National Guard guys, I'm thinking those scenes when they come up, they're usually like, I feel like the main scene, they're all laying up on a log. So they're kind of half in a prone position aiming. I mean, yeah, he comes out, sprays a little bit, but that's because he wasn't trying to kill anybody. So no, I'm all right with Rainbow First Blood. I think that one's pretty solid. Now, if you want to like take the sequels, those, dear God, those could use some like actual aiming and not just spraying. But the first one, no, leave First Blood alone. That's like a damn near perfect movie.
All right. So then the last question I have is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Yes.
Thank you. That's the only answer.
This is the only answer. How is it not? I mean, come on, seriously.
Oh, people will argue with me all the time, but no, Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
If you don't think so, you can go take it up with Dave from High Point.
Oh, if you don't think so, you're just wrong.
Yeah, you're wrong. So that was our rapid fire question segment. Again, that was brought to you by Blackout Coffee. Again, check out Blackout Coffee's no compromise blend. Support companies that support GOA. Get yourself some Blackout Coffee. So Dave, let's go ahead and just dive into it. You
sure.
You've been at High Point for 15 years. Who is High Point? What is High Point? What's the whole story behind High Point?
Oh God, man. Do we have enough time for that?
We got some time.
I mean, so real and truly, I work for MKS Supply, which is a company that is part of the brand. High Point isn't even, that's just it, it's a brand. It's not a single company. It's evolved over the years. So like right now, your company's form of High Point is MKS Supply, where the marketing and distribution end. So that's how you get to know me. Straussel's Machine is the main production facility. It does majority of the firearms. And then you've got Haskell Manufacturing, which does the 45 handgun and now the 40 cal handgun. They recently took that over from Iberia, which did the 40 cal handgun. And then all of our hydro dipping is all done by Mid-Ohio Graphics, which is another company under that brand. But Mid-Ohio also does stuff for other companies in the gun industry, outside the gun industry. If you need hydro dipping, Mid-Ohio does an absolute metric ton of hydro dipping stuff. But all those brands come together under the umbrella of High Point Firearms.
Yeah. So you and I have talked about this. The biggest myth about High Point Firearms is that all the guns are made in separate facilities, so that way if you get sued, that they could have sued you. I don't know where this myth came from. You and I, because I brought it up to you a year ago, and you're like, "No, that's not even true."
Yeah. I was like, "What?" In the hell? Because that was a new one to me. I've never heard that one. I'm like, that was the dumbest thing in the world. Like a lot of the lawsuits, I can say we've been embroiled in a lot of them because we are the end distribution point. So everything that all the factories produce, we buy them all. And then from that point, we do the marketing distribution side. So we get them out to wholesale distributors and then get them out to the dealers from there. So for a long time, we were the ones, we're the final ATF side of it, of where the guns come from. Well, manufactured, and we bought them, and then we sold them. So we get tied up in a lot of the lawsuits. But yeah, to go with every gun's a different factory is like the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. We're a real manufacturer. We carry insurance, unlike some other brands that are most are faded out and gone now, I think. But like obviously like your Saturday Night Specials. People say, oh, the High Point Saturday Night Special. Man, Saturday Night Specials was like before our time, before High Point's time. Like no. Like you're using antiquated terms that don't even exist anymore.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Everybody, there's this High Point's got this mystery behind them where it comes to like all these weird things. So they'll throw you in with Saturday Special. They'll throw you in with the Ring of Fire people. It's totally different. Not even close.
Totally different era of time.
Yeah.
I mean, High Points didn't even exist then. I mean, but people still just, I don't know. It kind of falls into me like the whole AR versus AK. What's the better platform? Well, if you talk to Vietnam vets, it's pretty much 50-50, But you talk to guys nowadays, and they're like, it's personal preference, but the AR is still better. I mean, so yeah, High Points are cheap special guns. No, dude, we're not. We wouldn't still be in existence making crap, if for 35 years,
Oh yeah, I love when people talk trash about High Points because I'm just like, have you shot one? No. Well, yeah. they work. they go bang every time. So a few years ago, or now, what is it? Almost a decade ago. We're at that point where you guys decided that you were going to let the industry or your customers decide what your next gun was going to be called.
Oh, come on! It wasn't a decade. Come on, well, man. It was like 4 years ago.
Wasn't it like 2014? No, it was
19. 19. Okay. 19 we unveiled. Yeah.
Why did I think it was 2014? My bad. Anyways, so you guys let your customers decide whose idea was that, and was it a great idea, or what did it turn into like this weird marketing thing?
Both. Was it a great idea? Yes, absolutely. I mean, everybody was like, "Oh, you're going to go the whole Bodie McBoatface route." It's like, okay, let's be realistic. If you're submitting names to us, we control that data flow. Nobody knows what's being submitted. So it's like, we will do whatever we want with it. We will tell you one thing. That's the really end of it. We can do whatever the hell we want. So was it a great idea? Yeah, no, it was absolutely crazy and interesting thing. And I think pretty early on, like when we showed the thing off at SHOT 2019, it was that 3D printed prototype in the Lexan case. I'm pretty sure after SHOT, we even talked about it. Like, what do we name this thing? It was like, should we open it to the public? Knowing it's going to be an absolute show because there's, I don't want to say hundreds, but there's probably 50 names that to this day I still wouldn't repeat online or even release in text because we'd probably get tagged by some anti-gun or anti-hate speech group because the names were just that vile. It was like, okay, people, like, calm down. Like, do you really think for a second we're going to allow this to process forward, But beyond that, yeah, there's some cool stuff in there. There's some cool things that we liked. Well, some of us liked, and others go, why would you call it that? Like, man, it's like talking 3-4 little letters on the side of a gun. Like, what does it really matter? Just have fun with it. And hence, yeah, Yeet Cannon kind of stuck.
I remember it was between, I know what I voted for, and that was WLS 9.
That was one of the biggest ones.
Yeah. It came down between Yeet Cannon and WLS now, and then when Yeet Cannon won, it became this meme, and people started copying it. What was the reception from you guys? We were like, oh, people are now copying our gun name because it became this big thing.
I mean, but who really other than meme wise, who really copied? I don't remember really seeing anybody. I mean, everybody talked about like HK did a lot of little marketing blips of the Mark 23 in a can and calling it the. What was I don't even Yeet 23, I think. But just in goofy meme culture fashion. So for that side of it, no, who cared? We didn't care. It was cool. It was fun. It was free publicity to us because you knew if they made a meme about it, what were they talking about? They're really talking about us, So no, it just worked. I mean,
yeah. So we've got High Point. We've been focusing on High Point, but there's a whole bunch of other brands under MKS Supply. Right. What other, so for people who don't know, like what other brands you guys have and what other products you have, because High Point seems to control the conversation most of the time.
Yeah, it is the bread and butter.
Yeah. What else do you guys do besides just High Point?
One thing we were pretty well known for in a very short time, it's unfortunately done, was the Barnaul ammunition that the Biden admin kind of pretty much killed that, killed that line of ammunition. And that was the big thing was Barnaul. You could get Barnaul in a lot of different flavors here in the States under different private labels. But our big thing was we were actually pushing their actual name so you would know what Barnaul ammo was. But so that's done and gone. I doubt we'll get that back with the Trump change. But so our current brands that we've had for several years now, one is Full Forge Gear. So it's our soft goods gear line from double padded rifle cases, double pistol cases, single pistol cases, tool bag. I was thinking that's not my Full Forge Gear setup behind me, so never mind. Full Forge Gear plate carriers, plates themselves, level 3A and 4 plates, level 3A ballistic helmet. And I'm trying to think if I'm free. Oh, and then the backpack, which I do carry all the time. Just like a 2-day, 1 day, I won't say assault backpack, but just EDC backpack covered in Molly. Yeah. So that's the Full Forge Gear line. And we've been doing that. God, I don't know, man. I want to say like, it's probably been 5 years. It might be. I don't really remember now. It's just kind of it all kind of bleeds together anymore. But then the other one that's really cool that we do is we do marketing with Inland Manufacturing. So anybody knows the Inland name, they were known in the 40s, World War II, with M1 carbines. They were the leading M1 carbine producer by General Motors. Ron at Inland, he actually saw that General Motors was doing nothing with the name and reached out and bought the name Inland. So he is resurrected to Inland M1 carbines with that. He did a couple different variations on it. So you get your standard, but the main line is the 1945 model Inland carbine. So that would be like the last thing that actual Inland would have produced in the 1940s. And then like we have a state compliant model that's the 1944, just doesn't have the bayonet lug because, people get bayoneted all the time. Another popular one then being the paratrooper. Everybody liked the cool idea of the paratrooper because it was the folding stock with the chunk square pistol grip because guys jumping out of planes on D-Day with that thing. It is cool, but for shooting wise, just stick with the other two models, honestly. But yeah, in a nutshell, that's it in a nutshell.
And you guys also do, so with Inland, you also have 1911s and a Derringer, if I'm not mistaken, or there was a Derringer.
There was a Derringer. That was kind of like Inland's take on, it was a Bond Arms private labeled for us. It was kind of Inland's take on doing like the old Liberator pistol, which, the original was the sheet metal stamped, airdropped in, single shot, had little, comic book directions on how to use a thing. And that was for more resistance to like drop a Nazi in the back of the head and then grab his gun. But so Ron's Inland was using the Derringer for it. And it was cool. It's a Bond Arms Derringer. Those things are awesome. It just wasn't something that was received really all that well. I think people really wanted a legit Liberator, which it's kind of like, the original Liberator is cool for the historic value. Other than that, it's not something you want to shoot. It's sheet metal.
Everybody wants one because of the mystery behind the Liberator and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
But then you go to shoot one, and it's just like, why?
Yeah. It's like people's obsession for me with the the Walther PPK. It's like, have you ever shot a PPK in 380? Like you think, oh, it's 380. No, man, those things suck to shoot. They're painful and unforgiving. It's like, no way. You put one like in 32, that's actually what's fun to shoot, but then it's 32. Like, why?
No, I can't agree more on that one. So you've got Inland, you've got MKS. I want to touch on something because we haven't talked to anybody about this yet. Bernal and the Biden administration going after imported ammo, specifically Russian-made ammo.
Right.
You guys were in the forefront of that. What was it like during that time for you guys? Because you had whatever was in the States at the time, but trying to figure out how you could get it. How was that?
Man, that was weird and jacked up. So in Biden, I cannot for the life of me recall what you call it that Biden did. It wasn't an executive order. It wasn't a sanction. But the weird thing is the technical name to it, whatever it's called, no any other president has come in after and undone a previous president's thing like Biden had did on the ammo. So that's why I say like Trump reversing it for us. I'm not hopeful for that. But anyways, when he did that, though, it put a timetable on. We had import licenses for 2 years, I think. So it was like, okay, it's 2 years. We can bring in ammo. It's like, okay, we'll bring the ammo in. And of course, so were the other private label outfits with Barnwell. It's like, let's bring in what we can. And we weren't trying to like just hurry it up, but we were like still being strategic on what we wanted to bring in, what was moving. Like 545, was always had a following, but not the hugest following. So we'd always bring a little bit of that in. But then all of a sudden it was kind of like, what's going on? Did Russia invade Ukraine? And our Baltimore people were like, don't worry about that. It's nothing. Now we'll still get your ammo. We're like, okay. And it was like, well, what are we getting? Oh, well, why don't you guys want to get some 45? We got 45. What about some 7.62 by 39? Yeah, we'll see what we can get you. What? What about the 545? Yeah, we'll see what we can get you. And like 545 stopped. I was like, that's not good. Like, about to get real. So we brought in what ammo we could. But then as the whole Ukraine thing started heating up more and more, we'd heard rumor, I still can't corroborate any of this. We heard rumor that one of the other private labelers had paid for their ammo. It was sitting at port, ready to leave Russia. And the Russian government came in and said, nope, we need this. Took it. And so the outfit that paid for it was like, the government just took our ammo. Can we get more? It was like, there's no guarantee it'll leave the port. It's like, okay. So when we heard that, we reached out. We're like, hey, we pay for our ammo. Can you guarantee we'll get it? And they were like, no, we can't. If the government wants to take it, they're going to take it. They think they need it. It's going to happen. It was like, okay, so is there any other alternative routes we can take? They're like, no, because it's still going to leave from a port somewhere where the government can take it. And if they take it, it's gone. It's like, okay. So it sucked having a 2 years worth of leasing licenses to get ammo into the country. We were just kind of like, whatever, they'll just sit because we can't guarantee getting any product. Because obviously the Ukraine thing, certainly heated up, and it was like, well, we have what we have, and we'll just trickle that out, and see how it all goes. And well, now it's done, which sucks.
Yeah, I mean, from you guys order the ammo. That part of the business was doing really well. We had that rush. What was it like to just go one day? You were like, cool, we're making all this money going from here. And now, well, that revenue stream's gone.
It sucked, man. It hurt. I mean, like I said, High Point's always the bread and butter. High Point will always be the bread and butter. But the ammo was definitely a certain extra revenue stream. Like I said, Trump slump, Trump slump was a real thing. Guns were slow. Ammo still wasn't slow. We were still going to the ammo left and right. So that was kind of nice. That's the real contingency of it. If the guns were a little bit slower, but the ammo was still there, it was like, okay, sweet. That ammo dropping off, it was like, here we are then with all the guns, the High Point, the Inland, full forge gear. It's like the ammo not having that. That hurt. That was a hit. We're still looking at doing something else with ammo. It's just takes time. It takes time to build new relationships, format new ideas. If we're going to like bring in somebody else's ammo who's not really familiar in the U.S. and push their brand, which like we did with Barnwell. Hell, we did with Kiwacka years ago when we did Kiwappa's marketing and stuff. We pushed their name. So we could go that route, or we might even roll ammo into the Full Forge brand and have our own ammo brand, but all be coming from, a supplier that we found that we've built a relationship with. Only time will tell on that, though. Who knows? It just sucks to lose the Barnwell because that was actually anybody out there that like wants to rag on steel case ammo. It's like the dumbest thing in the world. It's solid ammo. It really is.
I shot a metric ton of Barnwell, and it's good stuff. And
yeah, it is good stuff.
So when you guys do relationships like that, what's it kind of look like? Because that was all imported. And if you were to go that route again and go import, what's that look like to build a relationship with a company outside of the U.S. and try to get stuff in?
It's time consuming, man. I mean, we've talked to a couple of different outfits, and you do the whole, dog and pony show. You show them what we can do. Usually it's meeting at SHOT Show at first, talk about what they have, show them what we can do. Then if everything goes cool from there, we'll go over there. Had a couple people went to Turkey, looked at a couple of different manufacturers over there. And a couple of them they had a good variety of ammo, but they were definitely one to push their name in the States, but they would also be like, oh, we're very well known. And I remember they showed me some of the samples. I'm like, who are these guys? I've never seen this shit. Like, I'm not saying I'm anybody. I'm not saying, but I definitely am a bargain basement ammo buyer. So I'm going for the cheapest crap I can find. And if it runs, it's like, oh, this is actually pretty decent stuff. I'd never heard of these companies before. It's like, maybe they have some footing in Europe. They sure as hell don't here. I'm like, why aren't they just private labeling with us? It's like, yeah, because they're like, our ammo is very good ammo. Okay, but your price point says otherwise, and people are looking for import stuff to be inexpensive, not more expensive.
Well, during COVID and that rush afterwards, we'll call it that big rush in the early 20 aughts. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Right.
We saw companies like DRZ, ZSR, all these no-name brands, and you start shooting the ammo, and you're like, well, this is good stuff. Where did this stuff come from? And then you come find out, like, okay, well, this brand just had a massive recall on all their ammo, or this brand had
right.
And then and a lot of people don't understand. And we talked about this with Jake over at SAR. Is you can order ammo from anywhere in the world, but you'll order it for like 21 cents a round in Turkey. And by the time 4 months later, when it shows up, ammo prices drop to 19 cents a round. And now you got to pivot. It's a risk. It really is a huge risk, because if it shows up in port and you're overpriced, no one's going to want it. You got to sit on it until the price goes back up, or if, the market fluctuates.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, and that's the other hard sell than when you're getting somebody you're not that familiar with. Like Barnoul was definitely an easier one, because you look at it, it was like, oh, I know what Barnoul ammo is. We have really good friends at Hornady. Hornady had their steel match, man. That was over 10 years ago. It was a Barnoul case. I forget how Jason told me one time how they did it. It was weird. Like, they couldn't send all the stuff over there. They couldn't send all the stuff over here. So the way they had to get the parts together to make the ammo. But I had buckets, like 4,000 round buckets, several of those things of Hornady's Barnoul steel case, Hornady bullet ammo. So I was like, okay, I've shot that stuff. It was great. I've shot, plenty of Wolf over the years that never gave me an issue, that I would be willing to guess most of that was Barnoul, not Tula. Or even like the Brown Bear, Silver Bear, Gold Bear. That was all Barnoul stuff. So it's like, yeah, this stuff's legit. Yeah, we'll have a little uphill battle because they're ignorant, perpetuated crap on the internet of steel case is terrible for your gun, steel case, and it's steel cord bullets. Like, no, it's a bimetal bullet, so it sparks a little bit. Yeah, but it's not steel cord. It's not hurting anything else. So that was really the only uphill battle with that. But even still, with the Russians, the pricing still with them, it fluctuated a little bit from shipment to shipment. I mean, just from materials on their end, and then the port cost to the landed cost to when we finally get it was kind of like, ooh, this just got a little higher. It's like, okay, but still, even then, it was of 223 and 762. So even if it was a little bit higher at the time, wouldn't last long. You still go through that stuff, but going with a completely unknown brand, out of like Turkey or any one of the, I don't know, other Eastern European outfits, it's like, oh, they make ammo. Like, oh, is it any good? Like, because what happens to us when you buy a case of that stuff and you get 2-3 rounds out of a box, out of a whole case, every box, there's 2-3 bad rounds that don't work. What are we going to do with that besides go, here's some replacement ammo? It's rough. You got to almost do a lot of testing on our own to bring the stuff in to really feel for it out before just diving in head first. And it kind of sucks in that regard,
No, I get that, because you don't want it's your guys' reputation on the line. It's
absolutely.
And if it's a bad, like, I know when I was doing ammo, where I was working in ammo, we had a batch from one of the Turkish companies of 308 that was so bad it was blowing guns up, and just getting like photos of M4 or M1As and things like that where people's guns were blown up, and you're like, okay, cool. So now I'm taking your ammo back, and because this is a Turkish company, they don't care. So I have to replace your gun, because if I don't, my customer base is going to be mad at me.
Yeah. Like, I know we had one guy, he had an MP5. I remember, I feel like in the long run, it was kind of sketchy. Like, all his information didn't quite add up. because I don't even remember like what was like his case of ammo. He'd only shot like maybe a box out of it. So I think he couldn't confirm that it was like our ammo or something else that he had. But at the end of the day, he was like, oh, it's going to cost me extra to replace this gun. We're like, well, you can replace the barrel for less. Well, but that's a bigger expense. We're like, dude, we'll replace your barrel. The guy was like, what? It's like, yeah, man, look, you can't truly prove that our ammo did it because you got too many inconsistencies in the story. And so we're not going to go out and fully replace your gun, but we'll replace your barrel. That's all that's wrong with the thing. And the dude was like, oh, okay, I'll do that. So it's like, was he really on the up and up, or was he half bullshitting us and blew up his own gun with a bad reload or something? I don't know. Yeah, you never know.
Speaking of barrels, this brings us up to another cool topic going back to High Point.
Okay.
So High Point carbine with 30 rounds stuck in the barrel.
Yeah. 45 actually. Yeah. It's 45 auto. Yeah.
So you guys this goes back to how much you guys stand behind your product. That gun, any other manufacturer would have just gone, your fault, dude. No, you guys turned it into like a marketing ploy. Like, hey, look, our gun is so strong. It took 30 rounds of 45 ACP stuck in the barrel.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I first came on board, you'd get the occasional guy that would send his gun in. I'm like, yeah, I need to have my gun repaired. It just stopped working. You're like, what? Like, it stopped working. And at the time, like, some people would send their stuff to us first and we'd forward it onto the factory. And you'd look at it and go, what the hell? And you look at it and you're like, oh, there's a round in the chamber. You get a light and you're like, oh, there's multiple rounds in the chamber. It's like, oh, it stopped working, huh? It's like, okay, all right, sure. You clearly weren't paying attention to your reloading and you stacked a couple rounds in there, sent it on, whatever. But yeah, that guy, it was like 32 or 34 rounds of 45 auto, and the factory cut the barrel in half. So you could see each individual round stacked up to it. And the barrel had just a little bit of bulging, honestly, not much because they're pretty tough barrels, but you would have thought the guy shooting it would have noticed that one, the back pressure is getting a little more on 45, and two, it was sounding a little off, but I don't know, whatever. We still took care of it, still replaced the guy's gun. I mean,
and that's what I love about you guys is that and you've told me this before. It's like, if anything happens to a High Point, send it in. We'll take care of you. We'll get it done. And that's something that a lot of companies won't do. But also, I want to applaud you guys because you're coming in at such a price point that everybody can have a firearm.
Right.
And you guys
that is the plan.
Spreading freedom that way and spreading the 2A message by making an affordable gun that works and is heavy, but is super accurate and does what it needs to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's always been the goal, to make a gun that everybody can afford. The original owner, Tom Deeb, that was his thing. He was like a VSA repair guy in the 80s. And even then he was sick of seeing, you think, what did you really have in the 80s? It was new production stuff, 1911s, and Berettas, probably some high powers, remember the Ruger P series maybe. But even then he was tired of seeing the costs going up, and it like literally pissed him off. He was a neat guy, and decided he's going to design his own gun. So he did. And you're looking at the evolution of that gun still going simple blowback. So it's simpler action. Yeah. They're heavier. It's because we're using that bigger, larger cast Z-Max slide. It's like people always say, oh, why don't you guys do a stainless steel slide? It's like, okay, we can do that, but it's going to like double our costs. Like, you're going to kill the reliability of it. And so if you're going to do a stainless steel slide at that point, you might as well then move on from a blowback action to a Browning tilt lock action. And again, so then your cost is going to go up. So now we're already talking like, Smith M&P, Glock prices of a handgun. That's not the point. I mean, could we do it? Sure. But we still need that affordability for everybody. And the YC9, it just fits that bill still. Same with our carbines.
Yeah, and that's what I love about you guys, for sure. We are at about the halfway point. We're going to go into our From the Soapbox segment. That is where we talk policy, frustrations, gun industry, gripes with the ATF, politicians, all the above. That is brought to you by Patriot Mobile. Go to patriotmobile.com and use code GOA for 1 month free. Patriot Mobile is a freedom-based wireless carrier that uses all the Bang networks that everybody else uses, and you can choose your network. So if AT&T is not working where you're at and Verizon's working, you can actually switch networks. Check out Patriot Mobile, and again, use code GOA for 1 month free with Patriot Mobile. So, Dave, what is your From the Soapbox? What is your spicy hot take today?
I don't think super spicy or hot. My main thing is like, okay, so we're seeing some awesome news rolling out with the Trump admin, gearing ready. Guys, he's wanting to appoint. It just looks like, I won't say like the most star-studded kick like admin ever, but it kind of does, because like this dude's got 4 years. I think he knows what he's going to do. But my problem lies with that is, let me back up and say, I was always a Trump guy. Okay, I was always a Trump fan. His first 4 years was a Trump fan. Voted for him all 3 times now. I knew was it 20? I knew a lot of the gun community was like, I'm not voting for Trump. Like, what? Like, so you're going to vote for Biden? Well, no, I'm going to vote for some third party because Trump's no friend of the 2A. I'm like, oh, dear God. And here we go. Stop thinking and being complacent just because you have your favorite letter controls the government powers, that you should just be kicking back and relaxing, going, all's good. All's good. We have control of everything. No, you don't. Your government still doesn't like you. Your government's still not your friend. This Trump admin could be the best thing we've ever had, and I think it will be, but they are still not your friend. You still need to be vigilant. You still need to stay on top of with organizations like you guys, on watching your rights. How many states' rights got worse under the Trump administration because people kicked back, were like, all is good. We have a Republican that we all like who's a 2A guy. No, he's not. He's a New York Democrat. Stop it. Which is fine. But that was the thing. People were so damn complacent with him. I don't want to see that happening again, even though we're seeing this dream team of people. Like I've seen, what was it? I don't know if it's memes or real, but they're talking about like getting Brandon Herrera into a cabinet position or something like that. It's like, okay, cool, whatever, fine. But that doesn't mean you still can sit back and relax. You sit back and you watch this federal. Are you watching your state? Are you watching your state lose more control? I mean, look at, I was on with the We Like Shooting guys for the election night. And one of the guys from the Let's Go Hunt, he was talking about how they lost, bad in their state because they passed a bill that puts more tax on ammo. And I didn't realize that at first. He just said, oh, here goes ammo prices next year. And I said, yeah, right. I saw that press release from Winchester. He goes, oh no, dude, in Colorado, we passed, today was a law it passed of extra percentage tax on ammo. I'm like, holy shit. It reinforces it. Stay vigilant with your state. Don't kick back and relax with this awesome administration we're going to get.
Yeah, I hopped on to Sean's show election night. I was live streaming at the same time, but I hopped in the comments while I was live streaming, and I said it right then and there. I was like, now is not the time to become complacent. Now is the time to actually push these people that you elected to do what they said. We have a year. That is it, because you think that everyone's like, well, we got 2 years of this, and no, because year 2, they're running for re-election. You have a year. Now is the time to contact these people and go, this is what we want, and be the loud voice. That is the problem, I think, and I've talked about it before, is with conservatives. You're absolutely right. We win, and we're like, all right, guys, we're good to go. Yep. We don't have to worry about anything. But we saw at the state, you're absolutely at the state level. So Colorado passed the tax. We've got Memphis, which, as of this podcast, we've sued on a couple months ago when this airs. That as of yesterday, technically, we filed the lawsuit that is trying to do an AR ban in the city of Memphis. You've got Washington is basically telling people, hey, our system is down. We can't process background checks, so you're not allowed to do your Second Amendment rights. We have so many things that people are complacent in, and now is the time not to become complacent, but now is the time to actually push these politicians to do what they promised to do. And again, the same thing. Every time Trump spoke, everyone's like, well, he's anti-2A. No politician is 100% pro 2A.
No,
you can look at their voting record, which we put up every year around election time. We put up the voting record going, okay, well, here's how they're rated. You can look at their rating and go, okay, well, they're at an A. Well, why aren't they at A? Well, they voted for this. Or, hey, they're at a B. They voted for this. Now is the time to actually put the fire to their butts and get stuff done. Because I want to see, we have the Hearing Protection Act and the Shush Act in the House, in the Senate.
Right.
Get suppressors off the NFA. Hey, I want to see SBR and SBSs off the NFA. I want to see national reciprocity or national concealed carry. There's so many things we want to see, and everybody's been screaming about this from the rooftops for the last 8 years.
I'll say forever.
Now is the time to actually do it. Go call these people and go, hey, I know that this bill is in the House. Here's the bill number. We want you to push it. And it takes 30 seconds to do so. Go to the GOA website. There is a spot where it says contact your congressman or senator by your zip code. It takes 30 seconds. It's a pre-formed letter, and just do it. It's 30 seconds of your time.
Yeah, it's not that hard.
Do it during
and whatever you do too. When you reach out to them, don't get nasty. Be polite. Be civil. As soon as you get, you're gonna hit delete. It's not gonna go beyond the secretary. You know.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the whole point. You got to be civil. You got to be nice. You got to push them.
Yeah. Remind them they work for us.
Yeah. That is a good from the soapbox, because I watched Sean's show. Sean, I love you, buddy. He's been on the show with us. I watch him. I'm always in the comment section. I just want the people who were in his chat that night, who were celebrating, they need to understand now is the time to fight. And that's with everybody who's in the 2A community. Now is the time to fight. And do that. Now, I do have one more spicy thing for you.
Sure.
See what you can do. Is it Illinois that you guys are banned in because of your melting point? What in the actual...
The handguns in particular, it's the handguns. It's an old leftover Senate special law. Yeah, that's all it is, because some of those guns were made from pot metal, Senate specials. But now because it's... Oh, God. Here we go. I'm trying to think the best way to even talk about this. So... Yes, our slides are ZMAX. So yes, you get them hot enough, they will melt. Watch Eric's RX 88's got a really old video where they threw it in a cast iron pot outside and cooked it. And yeah, he got it hot enough, the ZMAX slide melted. So yes, it will melt. But the dumbest thing about that law, every polymer frame gun will melt at that same point. So it's like, what the shit? It's like Illinois. You guys, we can't change this law. You guys have to change it, Illinois. You got to fix it. But it's been around for a long time. And okay, so could we technically still sell everything to Illinois? Sure, we could. Is that opening up us for a ton of lawsuits in the state of Illinois? Yeah. And honestly, the same could happen to Glock and Smith and Wesson. But you know what? They have a little more bankroll to fight that kind of shit than we do. We're not getting into that. We don't want to be subjected to that. So, I mean, it sucks like our lifetime warranty. If they send it in, a pistol, they can't get that back because we can't legally send it back to Illinois legally. Like I said, do other manufacturers, they still do it? Sure. Now, Illinois dealers, they can still buy our products if they have an online store, because then they're selling it out of state, potentially. But at that point, it's out of our hands. They're allowed to do that. But yeah, it's an ancient law on melting point from Saturday Night Specials that really and truly every polymer damn gun out there will melt in that shit. It's ignorant.
What is the whole point of it? What is the whole point of the melt? Who's sticking? Well, okay, I'm going to say who's sticking their gun in the oven, but you never know with some people. But yeah.
Well, because they'll do it with high points because it's cheap enough, and they'll be like, I'm going to test this thing out because it was only $200. I get that. I get the ridiculous torture we get to our guns for that reason. Nobody's going to buy their Glock, their cherished favorite Glock or HK, whatever, and try and melt the damn frame. Yes, it'll melt. It's in plastic. Yeah, it's going to melt, But no, it's just an ancient, ignorant law. Like, come on, look at how many gun laws actually have any logic to them.
None of
them. They don't, exactly. So this is the same thing. It's just somebody saw this back in the day. Obviously, was like, man, that'll probably melt it. I don't know, whatever, a couple hundred degrees that it is. Yeah. So no, it's there. We do not sell our handguns in the state of Illinois. Carbines are okay because they're a rifle. It's not a pistol. So yeah, it's for real.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
What other, are you guys on all the rosters, or is there some rosters you're not on besides Illinois?
That's that's probably the most restrictive one. New York is still a mess. Like, even lawyers are like, we're not touching this one. So there's gun shops that will get our guns in. They'll sell them. They'll get like the state compliant models. And our lawyers are like, it's very gray because they're wording. So we recommend not selling the stuff in New York. California, it's just a mixed bag. Like, you can still get some of the handguns and the carbines. California's actually lightened up a little bit because they had the microstamping thing for the longest time where you couldn't get anything new in. I think that actually like got defeated or dropped off.
Yeah.
So we're looking at trying to get more of our guns into California. I'm trying to think. There's another New England state that's a little weird. You can't sell it in their state until like a dealer basically has to order one in, get it, and they submit something themselves to the state, and the state says, okay, then it's fine. It's good. Like Maryland, I think was a little weird like that. I can't recall off the top of my head, but yeah, Illinois, New York, California, by far the worst.
This will be the last thing we'll talk about before we close out the show. So torture testing of your guns. There's so many videos of people just beating the absolute daylights out of them and just proving that high points are so much better built than what people perceive.
It's so ridiculous. I mean, now it's gotten the last couple of years, guys come up at SHOT Show. I think it was last year. Guy come up and he goes, hey, I want to shoot the C9 or YC9, whichever one. He goes, I want to shoot it 1,000 yards. And I went, it's been done. Guy was like, what? I said, yeah, a guy sent me a video. The guy's not a YouTuber by any means, so his video was very, very rough. But he shows you this one giant, long, 45-minute take. He shoots and hits a balloon at 1,000 yards with a handgun, out in the deserts of Nevada somewhere. And so he did it. So I was like, yeah, it's been done, man. It's like, could somebody with more following, bigger production be a cooler event? Sure. And he's like, oh, no. You misunderstand me. And I was like, okay. He goes, I'm a long-range, high-precision shooter. I was like, okay. He goes, I want to shoot your high point. I was like, oh. He goes, yeah, I want to use the C9 as my target. And I went, have a nice day. I was like, what? I said, dude, if you come up to me and tell me you want to intentionally destroy my product, I'm going to tell you to take a hike. Get out of my booth and don't waste my time. Like, that's stupid, man. I was like, anybody can destroy anything. Like, most torture tests are just beyond stupid anyways. It's like, show what the average persons do with their gun to maybe an extreme, and now guess what? It's going to hold up just fine. Or you're going to find a failure point that most people will never have in their lifetime of the firearm. Of any brand, for the most part. You know what I mean? But, so, yeah, torture tests are just, they're dumb. Even with the AR ones, I think they're just dumb. Like, it's just so unrealistic. Yeah. Give me a break.
Wait, Dave, you don't drag your high point behind your truck in the desert? What do you mean, dude?
No, never, I've seen, what was one guy, he was shooting it and then he threw it at a steel target. And the angle, he hit right, so it cracked the frame at the trigger guard, and it was like, he called me up and he goes, yeah, I broke my high point. I was like, what'd you do? Threw the steel target. And I went, why'd you do that? See what would happen. I was like, and? Well, the frame broke. And I went, yeah. Shocker, dude. Mass against a solid object. I was like, what'd you expect to happen, dude? Well, you guys can repair it? Like, yeah, we'll repair it. I'm like, but you're a dumb. Like, come on, man.
Oh, man. Well, Dave, it's been a pleasure having you on. Before we go, I got a little gift for you. So our friends over at AAC and Palmetto has sponsored the show for gifts for all our guests this year. So will be receiving a gift from Palmetto and Sweet. AAC. So again, thank you to them for sponsoring the show and our gift for all our guests. Again, great supporters of GOA. Check out Palmetto State Armory and AAC. You can get high points at Palmetto State Armory. So get yourself a high point at Palmetto State Armory.
What? You owed yourself.
Yeah. Don't get one. Get like several. I mean, they're cheap enough. Get several. You need one of each flavor.
Dude, okay, there's a quick one too. When the prepper thing was real big, what was it, like 10 years ago?
Yeah.
There were so many guys come up to us at NRA show and they're like, oh my God, I can buy like 60 of your guns or 10 of your guns and like put them in dry seal packages and seal them away when it's a fan, and I can arm my community. And we're like, yes, you can. Go for it, man. Stock up.
Oh, okay. This brings it. So you know who Ursula Williams is, right? You met Ursula?
No, off the top of my head.
Okay.
No.
Ursula's a competitive shooter who shoots for Staccato, and I joked with her the one day. I was like, hey, you should sell all your Staccatos and just buy high points, and you could use a new high point for each stage for the year. Like
New York Reloading it.
Yeah. And she goes, why would I do that? I'm like, think about it. for the amount you have in staccatos, you could sell them all and have 4 pallets of high points sitting in your garage.
Oh my God.
The ATF could show up and be like, what? And you're like, I'm a competitive shooter.
Yeah, those are my guns. Shoot on a stage and I sell it. I'm done with it.
Yeah. I was like, you could literally shoot each stage with a different high point and still have enough high points to last you the rest of the year. And she's like, I might do that. I'm like, you should. It'd be hilarious and awesome.
Oh my God. I could imagine the ATF going, why does this person have so many 4473s for this one gun? We should go do a wellness check on them.
She was like, it would be, we did the math. I think it came out to being like 90 high points or something like that. And I was like, you could have so many high points in your garage.
Oh my God.
And the best part is she's in West Phoenix, so it looked even more shadier.
Absolutely.
I was like, yes.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God. So on that
good trip.
So if anybody wants to do that, this is the man to contact. Contact Dave at High Point.
Yeah, you give me a solid shooting record and we'll talk. I promise nothing.
On that note, Dave, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it. Go ahead and shout out all the socials, website, everything where people can find you, so on and so forth.
Easiest thing, if you want to find High Point, go to highpointfirearms.com, find links to our socials there. Facebook sucks. We're still on there, but they've banned us now for possibly 90 days as of yesterday. But still, go to the website. Instagram, we're still on there. X, honestly, most people, please get on X. Get on X is a great platform to be on. Inland, same thing. You want to follow what's going on with Inland Firearms, go to inlandfirearms.com. Full Forge Gear, same thing. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, we're on all of them with every platform. So yeah, check it out and give us a follow.
Yes, get yourself a High Point. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10. Get yourself an Inland, because who doesn't want to watch Band of Brothers while holding an M1 carbine? Just saying.
Right.
Just do it because you want to. And this will be airing after shot. So if you want to spill anything to the crowd or anything, you're more than welcome to.
Big thing is, airing after SHOT Show. We unveiled this back in October, but it's not releasing until SHOT Show, is the 995P, 4595P, and 1095P. If you're like saying, what the hell do those numbers all mean? It's literally our new pistol formats of our carbines in 9, 10, and 45. So they're, 13.5 inch barrel on the 9, 14.5 inch on the 45 and 10. Threaded, so obviously good suppressor host. But the coolest thing is on the rear end of it where we cut the stock off, we have a machined plate that there's pick rail already on it with a QD socket, so you could throw a sling on there. Pick rail, obviously, you can throw on a stock or brace, stock if you SBR it. But if you don't like the brace bit, which again you can still fold it, and you have enough room, you can put it low enough, you can fold it, and it will clear the charging handle. But also you can take the screws out of that Picatinny piece, slide it out, and it's already threaded in there for AR buffer tubes. So you've got a lot of mounting of stock and brace options with these new guns. And yeah, these guys are dropping at SHOT Show. We've teased them a little bit online. We'll continue to tease them online as long as we don't get kicked off social media. But yeah, they're cool, just little like pack gun. It's not necessarily the High Point for the general, not a lot of money High Point owners. It's more for gun guys like us that we want to have something to have fun with, because it's a cool little setup, but it's not the cheapest High Point because there's a little more work on into it, but they're cool.
Definitely SBR your High Points. Just saying, well worth it.
Talk about a flex.
Yeah, flex. Dave, I appreciate you being on. We always have so much fun. Little backstory. The first time I met Dave, I was at Faxon. I said, "Hey, we should do aftermarket High Point barrels," and he looked at me,
my God,
like I was
stupid.
Like I was stupid.
I probably said you were stupid to your face too, probably.
Yeah, you did. But it was the greatest idea I've ever had and has never come to fruition. So somebody, if you want to make aftermarket High Point barrels, which is not a real thing, it should never be a thing, but contact Dave. He'll tell you how to do it.
I'm gonna tell you you're stupid and don't.
He will, to your face too.
It's true. It's true.
True story. But Dave, you've been a great friend. I appreciate everything you do for the community and everything. So again, I appreciate you being on. Guys, make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the little bell for notification, leave a 5-star review on all the podcasting hosts, and we'll catch you on the next one.